One asked me, how do you remember so many stories? And it was replied to them, it's very simple. It's because I am the stories. Every story is an allegory of my life. Every element of every story is an aspect of me. Not the little me, but the big me that is life. I am the king, the princess, the prince with the severed limbs, the gods, the goddesses, the prostitutes, the vultures. Let's live this allegory together. And perhaps when you share it, its meaning, you'll discover the secret of stories. Naropa was born as the son of a seller of alcohol. But when it came the time for him to take over his father's business, he rebelled. He made his escape and went to the forest. And there he became a gatherer of wood. But his soul was restless, never at peace. He longed to know the reason for life. He began to wander aimlessly. But then he came to a certain place, and there he was told of a great sage called Tilopa. And as soon as he heard this name, something was awakened in his soul, and he knew, this is my Guru, I must find him. And so he knew his quest, and he began his search. And then one day he was told that Tilopa was in a certain place. So he hastened there, only to find that Tilopa had already left. Naropa travelled far and wide, but everywhere he seemed just to miss Tilopa's presence. His search went on for many years. And then one day he was walking down a road, and in the distance he saw a figure. And his heart started to leap faster and faster. And he hastened along the road until he came abreast with this figure. And he knew that this was Tilopa. And immediately he circumambulated him and bowed at his feet and said, "My Guru, my Guru." And Tilopa looked at him disdainfully and said, "I don't know who you are. I am not your Guru. Go on your way." But Naropa was not to be deterred. He followed Tilopa like a little puppy dog. And when it came to a certain town, he hastened into town to beg for food for them and brought it back so Tilopa could eat. But all that Tilopa did was beat him with his stick and tell him to go away. "I am not your Guru." But Naropa remained. He followed wherever Tilopa went. He went begging each day to bring food for them to eat, and Tilopa would eat with relish and leave Naropa with just the dregs. For years, Naropa followed Tilopa. Not once did Tilopa acknowledge him, only with his stick beating him from time to time. But one day, they happened to be in a place where a certain rich merchant was giving a wedding feast for his daughter. And the merchant had provided 84 types of curry to feed the guests. And amongst those 84 dishes was one that was considered to be the nectar of the gods, a curry to die for. When Tilopa came to the feast, he was given every curry that was to be given to the guests. And of course, amongst them was this delicious and delectable nectar of the god, so-called. So when it was brought back to Tilopa, he ate it all with relish, particularly this dish of curry. And he said to Naropa, "Thank you, my son." Naropa was overjoyed. He called me my son. After all of these years where he's never even asked my name, he called me my son. But Tilopa said, "Bring me more." So Naropa went off to the feast again and brought back more of the delectable curries, which again Tilopa ate with relish. 4 times Tilopa went to the wedding feast and brought back. But when he was asked a 5th time, he was reluctant. How could he ask once again? But then he was torn. How could he refuse his guru? So he decided that what he must do was steal the delectable plate. He went, and when the servants and the guests were preoccupied, he debased himself by taking the whole bowl under his coat and returning it to Tilopa. Tilopa again thanked him, saying, "Thank you, my son," congratulating him on humiliating himself. And he finished the curry with relish. After this, Tilopa congratulated Naropa on his persistence, on his dedication, and he gave him initiation and empowerment and taught to him the ways of meditation. Within 1 month, 1 month, Naropa attained to the state of that of a Mahasiddha, and the light that emanated from him radiated 1 month in the surrounds. He embarked then on his teachings. All of his life was spent in bringing that which he had gained to all who were drawn to him in his travels. Every story is our story. And since all stories are our stories, we have the ability to be able to express their meaning to those who have ears to hear. As you share together the translation and the meanings of the stories, recognize this, and perhaps in doing so, you can claim, acknowledge, and know that not only do you know the secret of stories, but you are.